So
maybe for both of you guys, tell me a little bit about, I know there's a great story behind the Kristoff. A lot of people see it. It's the strong cigar that you guys make. What's the story behind how that name kind of evolved around that cigar?
And arguably one of the best names in the entire humidor too, by the way. Anybody's humidor. I don't care where you're at. It's one of the best names. So
that cigar, and it's so funny. You say that's like, oh, that's one of the best named cigars and everything like that. The good ideas we don't have. It was a consumer at an event. It was this guy, Ken Apple, and he came to us at an event in Alpharetta, Georgia. And he was like, I've been waiting to meet guys from Kristoff forever. I've got the best name for you. I love Kristoff, blah, blah, blah. And then he told us the name. And we're like, that's actually a pretty good name. And he was like, all I want is the first box of production product that you guys make. That's all I want. We're like, done. So we forgot, obviously. And so Glenn and I are in the Dominican Republic, and we're at this restaurant called Pedro's, and we're drunk. And Glenn's like, what's that? We're trying to come up with something to do. And we're like, what's that Apple guy? What did he suggest? And I was like, oh, that's the Piston. And he was like, you want to do it? And I was like, yeah. And this was when LFD was doing like the NAS, the nasty ass shit. And all these companies were doing all kinds of different, like really strong for the sake of strong cigars. And it's always been my philosophy that, like, you know, you'll hear a consumer say, man, that cigar is really strong. And you'd be like, no, it's not. It just tastes bad. You know, like that's easy to do. I could make bad cigars that taste bad that people think are strong. Like a cigar should be strong and smokable. Like it should taste good. And just because it's bitter and harsh doesn't mean it's strong. It just means it's poorly made. It tastes bad. So how do you make cigars that are strong in flavor and body that aren't spicy and bitter and harsh and all those things that you try to avoid through processing? So we originally decided to do the opposite. So we made samples. I had a new sales rep, the first guy that we ever hired, besides for myself, as an in-house sales rep. He's no longer with the company, probably as a function of something like this. And I had the factory make these, it was unfermented San Andreas that we were using for our Maduro, but it was literally out of a fucking crate. And I took this, I'm like, this is the hairiest tobacco I could find. I'm like, take this, no binder, straight Nicaraguan Lajero, and roll it up. So they made a couple of them. I gave it to the new guy, and I'm like, hey, Anthony, his name is Anthony. I'm like, hey, Anthony, smoke this. This is a project that me and Glenn are really passionate about. I really want to get your tasting notes all the way through and see if it's something that we can commercialize. And he was like, oh, great. Like, he was like honored that and this was like, we had just hired him. We flew him to the DR. He was like all excited to like make a good impression on us. And so he smokes a third of it. And I swear this dude was green. Like, and so I'm like, Anthony, I know you're taking your time with it, but I really need some feedback because we're only here for a couple days. So if you could do me a favor, just smoke a little quicker. Give me your tasting notes. Give me your tasting notes for the second and final third, and let me know. So we're at this Christmas party, and we have like 270 rollers and their families and stuff there. Anthony is white as a ghost. And one of the girls, I said in Spanish, the guy next to me, I'm like, get somebody to dance with Anthony. So he went and he got one of the girls, one of the rollers. She came and we asked him to dance, and he's like, no. And I'm like, Anthony, don't be fucking rude. We're in there. And so now
down here, you got to dance with the beautiful women.
Now he's sick. He's white as a ghost. I see him dancing a bachata, which is like the fastest dance in the entire world. And all of a sudden he just like pushes her away and runs to the bathroom. And I'm like, I think that cigar is probably pretty strong, Glenn. And Glenn's like, yeah, I reckon you're right. And so he comes back, and we actually had to chauffeur him to the hotel. I felt a little bit bad, but now I feel good for the story that came out of it. And he brought him back to the hotel. And so we had a couple left. So Glenn and I lit it up, and I'm like, this is brutal. I'm like, but I bet if we process the tobacco and put a binder on here and like treated the cigar like adults, I bet you it would be pretty good. And so we started smoking these samples of this San Andreas natural wrapper which nobody really works with San Andreas Natural. Almost every time you hear about San Andreas, it's Maduro, because the tobacco is really, it's got a really high nicotine content, and it's kind of like espresso. Like when you see a cigar that's really, really dark, well, a lot of that nicotine has been processed out of it through fermentation.
Sure.
It's like espresso, like the blonde roast espressos, as close to that original iteration of the agricultural product as you can get. That's the strongest. So a blonde espresso has way more caffeine than a French roast or a darker roast, right? Same thing with tobacco. So when you see a processed product that's like really, really well fermented, it's not going to have super high nicotine content. And so we did a San Andreas Natural wrapper on that, so it would have high nicotine content. We did Nicaraguan Ligero through the core, which again, high nicotine content, high priming tobacco. And we tried to keep everything as unprocessed as possible while still being smooth and smokable and flavorful. And once we started smoking through those things, we were like, this is it. And that guy actually, so this is a really funny story. I'm 100% sure this guy's not going to watch it, so I really don't care.
Nobody is going to watch this. So you
right.
This is really promotional, really.
The only person who's going to view it is going to be me later, so it's fine.
Yeah. So this guy, who I don't know what he's doing. He might be cleaning windows or something. I don't know what he's doing right now. But he had the idea for the Piston because he was there again. He was instrumental in that development. He
patient zero.
Yeah, he was patient zero. He had the idea of like coming up with this artwork for the packaging where it was like Uncle Sam and he was holding the bill and it was on fire and he had his middle finger up and all this stuff. And I was kind of like, I don't think that antagonizing the organization that's going to be regulating us is a particularly good idea right now. So I think we're just going to not do that. And he was like, no, we've got to do this. We'll be the first company to come out against the FDA. And my general philosophy in life is like, I will never be the first person to put my middle finger up, but I will always be the second. Right. Like I always wait for somebody to screw up before I get to go screw up myself. So I was like, no, I don't want to be the first person to antagonize the government or body that's regulating us. So I'm going to pass on that. And he was so passionate. He paid an artist to do the work. And I said no again. And then he sent it to like Glenn Loop from the CRA and was like, and Glenn Loop called and was like, are you guys really doing this? And we're like, what are you, how did you even see that? And he's like, oh, your rep sent it to me. And finally I was like, buddy, relax. Yeah. You know, like stop sending this to people. We're not going to do this. And he's like, well, what are we doing for packaging? And Glenn and I looked at each other and we're like, I think we're just going to do like a mad face in the O. And he was like, come on, like I wanted to do this whole level. So anyways, we did it. And now every size of Piston is in our top 10 SKUs. It's just a monster of a cigar. Is doing fabulous.
Kevin, tell us a little bit about the different sizes of the Piston and then kind of walk us briefly through the Kristoff line in general.
With the Piston, you can get all the way from a Corona to a Corona Gorda. We have Robusto, Churchill, 60, and then we have the extremely Piston, 8.5 by 60. You know, that's like that.
Tell everybody the names too, because the names are awesome. The names are great.
So there's the little Piston, which is the Corona. There's the extremely Piston, which is that 8.5 or 8 by 60 or 8.5 by 60 or whatever it is. And then the other ones are just like regular names. But the extremely and the little Piston. The little Piston was in Half Wheels top 25 this year, actually. That cigar is a powerhouse little Corona.
Yeah.
Any chance we're going to see like a moderately pissed off and like a Toro?
I would love to do that.
Moderately
I love
pissed off.
I will keep like
right there. I'm moderately pissed off.
Yeah.
Make it elegant. If there's different levels of madness, it's, you know, you can market around that.
Right. You could be big mad, or you could be small mad, or moderate mad.
Little foil like halfway under the band, you know, like elegantly in anger.
Well, Kevin, tell us a little bit more about, go through the lines if you wouldn't mind, just so everybody can know a little bit more about the breadth that Kristoff has.
Well, we do things all the way from the relatively mild, like the shade-grown Connecticut. We also have the Kristoff Connecticut, which is not a shade-grown, but a sun-grown Connecticut. We do things all the way. we really have a lot in the medium to medium plus range. Like the medium, we have the Habano. We have a lot of Maduros. If you're a Maduro guy, our original Maduro, #1 seller to this day for about what, Jarrid, 12, 13 years in a row now?
14 years, yeah.
Okay, there's the GC Signature Series, which is another Maduro. The Vengeance, you know, for those who like broadleaf, you know, the Vengeance is, you know, there you go.
Yeah, see, shameless promotions.
There you go. The Vengeance has been really good for us too as a SKU.
Very popular.
We actually had found ourselves in a spot where we were very heavy ring gauge focused, and now we make the Corona tray, you know, for territories like ours in the winter when a guy wants a 40-minute smoke because he doesn't want to freeze. He doesn't mind being a little cold, but doesn't want to freeze. So we've really got a diverse flavor profile, strength profile, and size profile now. Why don't
I take you guys to one of my humidors, and we can I can show you some of the cigars that Kevin's talking about.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
That might be good.
That'd be sweet.
One of the things a lot of people don't realize is that we make a lot of Lanceros.
Yeah,
this is a first for cigars and Cigars From Afar. By the way, this is an exclusive insight.
A tour.
Yeah,
we'll give you a tour. This is
like MTV Cribs, but with like tobacco. There's the dog. What's up,
This is
dog?
Buzz, and then this is Bear. Bear is injured because he's fat, and he sprained his ankle 3 steps into chasing a rabbit that got stuck in my yard. Hold on a second. He had to go to the vet yesterday. It was like
Patriots jerseys. I expected Patriots.
Yeah, man, I didn't see one like championship trophy. You don't got like a Gronk fathead anywhere.
Red Sox.
I don't do that. I don't do that shit. I have some awards, a Target dog, Daryl Dawkins Chocolate Thunder autographed basketball. That's my only piece of memorabilia I have.
Respect.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Here's some humidors.
Wow.
Got the Bovida humidor there.
Yeah, I got the Bovida,
Yep.
which is pretty cool.
Probably happy about that considering his videos.
Yeah. So this is the Kristoff humidor, or one of them. So we've got.
I see some Vengeance and.
We've got Vengeance. We've got Cameroon, which is a 7.5-year-old African Cameroon. That's probably the cigar that took us the longest to blend. We had the tobacco for, like I said, like 7 years before we came up with a blend that we liked. Sumatra, which is Glenn and my favorite blend probably. We've got Connecticut, which you can see I smoke a lot of. And this is the Corona size that we're talking about. So a nice little quick smoke.
A good smoke.
Yeah, that Connecticut has so much flavor for a Connecticut. We've got the JT Signature.
Which is what I'm smoking right now, the JT Signature.
This is my project that I've been working on for the last couple of years.
Tastes like shit.
Yeah, obviously. The last thing the cigar business needs is more rich white guys making cigars. I'm telling you.
But the band looks nice.
The band looks nice. This is a new project that we're working on. So this is a teaser. You guys are probably the first people that have seen this. So you see it says Burma Valley Leaf on it. I don't know if you can read that or not.
No, because you're too high here.
Oh, sorry. Can you see it now?
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this is a cigar. So we bought a ton of tobacco from the Burma Valley in Zimbabwe. So we're going to be using some Zimbabwean tobacco in an upcoming project. This is the Kristoff 685 Woodlawn.
Yep.
This is a special. We only make 1,000 boxes a year and sell them out pretty quick. These are 10-count boxes named after Glenn's childhood address.
Beautiful.
By the way, Kevin gave me one of those and made it a point to give me one of those at the trade show.
Great packaging on those.
And I can't thank you enough for that, man. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
they're beautiful. This is the TAA, which may or may not be available in Tobacco Grove. This is the TAA 49.
Yeah, we got it on the shelf right now.
That is exclusive to the TAA retailers.
Yeah, we have them on the shelf. Nobody can get to them, but we got them on the shelf.
Yeah. These are some just really old.
You have the new TAA.
I don't have the new TAA. You guys are all posting pictures with the new
though.
TAA, and I don't even have it.
That's what I'm smoking, by the way, is the new TAA.
Old Criollo and Maduro Coronas with no bands. Old premium selection Coronas. These are probably like 7 or 8 years old. I don't even know how long I've had that.
Wow.
We've got, so these are like limited sizes that we make for certain retailers. So
Sure.
this is the Piston Kristoff
Firecracker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's all of these very, very small ones. This is a Lancero Piston that we make for a shop in Trussville, Alabama. And then down here, some very old Lajero Maduro Lanceros, this Galarone series that we have, which is like discontinued in 2012 or 2014. And then this cigar, this is the Aruba exclusive that I was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Linden Cigars, Aruba. It's a original Maduro Perfecto.
I like
then
how
I've got,
some of these LEs that you have in there that they, like for example, the JT that I'm smoking now, that they all say signature series on it. You know, it kind of gives them a family, and then you've got the individual ones under that family. That's kind of cool.
that was the idea. That was the idea that we were doing, just because we thought that, like, say Tobacco Grove wanted to do an exclusive with Kristoff. We can use that signature series band on that product instead of having to go through the pain in the ass of like making a new band and design. And that's where a lot of these private label deals fall apart, is in that design state. Because we just make cigars and sell them. We don't design bands. I'm not a graphic designer. We don't do any of that shit. So you got to talk to Action Label or another design company. And a lot of the deals fall apart because of that. But if we can just use the Piss Off or the signature series band on everything, that works much, much better.
No Corojo Limitada though, huh?
I don't have any Corojo in my humidor for whatever. Corojo's too strong for me.
Corojo Limitada, I love that cigar.
Yeah. But then we've got like little shit, like this is a Kristoff lamp that somebody made me in the corner over there. And then this is a Cuban humidor with all limited edition stuff. So
in fact, Jarrid, I was just telling Jeff, because we were eating lunch before this, I was telling Jeff and Cole about when we were down in the Dominican and went to that little Cuban cigar shop, and we're walking through it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, now this one right here, this one sucks. Don't smoke that one. But this one's pretty good.
Yeah. And some of them, and nothing that I think I bought on that trip smoked particularly well either. They were all pretty bad, actually. So I think I ended up like giving them, because Cuban cigars are still special for some people that don't smoke Cuban cigars. I mean, so there are some that I really like, but
I'm trying to remember what was the price on that Davidoff cognac. But you remember that really cool looking bottle? You've never seen that before?
It was really expensive.
It was really, we thought it was like, it's like $120 or something like that. And it was way more.
It was like $1,200 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
It was like, if it was $120, Rick and I have been drinking all day.
Easy.
It was like, we would have bought that and probably drank it in the, on the deck of one of our rooms or something.
We would have drank it driving back in those little golf carts on the way back.
Yeah. That shit's dangerous, man.
It is.
It's like, that drive from the Altos de Chavon, which is like, so this resort that we do TAA at is like sick. It's ridiculous.
It's beautiful. I've been there.
Yeah, it's like
Casa de Campo.
Yeah, Casa de Campo. It's like a several mile private town basically. So when you check in, you get a golf cart with a GPS map on it, and you use that to navigate the property. So if you want to go to the beach, it's not like a regular resort where you walk out and the beach is right behind you or there's a pool. You got to get in your cart and drive 8 minutes to the beach club or drive. So this place where the cigar shop is like a 25-minute golf cart ride at night after we've been drinking like monsters. And so buses are taking some people there, but I always like want to bring my golf cart because I like being able to leave when I want to leave or whatever. And so I'm drunk, smoking a cigar, driving my golf cart back with these little, like, flashlight headlights, 25 minutes in the middle of the night.
But it's such a relaxing drive, too, though. It's beautiful. You drive past these gazillion-dollar homes. It's
I love it.
Except for the speed bumps.
Yeah.
The stupid speed bumps.
Those things are big.
Yeah, and they sneak up on you. I've hit a lot of those going 30 miles an hour.
Me and Rick hit one once in 2010. We hit a couple of them.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So any big things coming up for you guys? Any big projects at all coming up, or anything that you've had to back burner or tables because of the whole COVID-19 thing?
So the Zimbabwe, fortunately, we started working on that project well before this. So the tobacco is, so the cigars are already made. We just, we're just letting them age out and clean up a little bit. So those are good. That won't interrupt our shipping schedule for that. But I think really where you're going to see the biggest hits is the interruption in this production schedule right now for most manufacturers is not going to be felt until like trade show time, like June, July. So I think that's when you're going to start seeing an interruption in product. So the depending on how long these factories stay closed, you're going to see some interruption in the supply. Maybe not as much from us because our forecasting is pretty sophisticated and we business plan for a lot of this stuff. But some of these companies that aren't that way, like you can tell, sure. I have the wrong accent for the cigar business in many places. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I can't say my family's been blending tobacco for 40 years, you know, like that doesn't sound as good without the Spanish accent, you know? So I'm a business person, obviously, and that's what we're good at. So times like this where business planning and things like that come into play, we've been fortunate to be able to weather the storm and handle it as well as could be expected. So
well, what are your thoughts on like the trade show too? Do you think we'll even have it this year?
I mean, I just think empirically, I don't know how it could possibly happen. And I think probably the reason why the trade association hasn't canceled anything is because they probably have to maintain as if it's going on for the contract with the Venetian, because it's a multi-million-dollar contract when you factor the catering, the rooms, all that stuff, and the trade show. So the Venetian obviously still wants it to happen. But I just don't know how it could go on in a way in the format that we currently expect. I bet you there will be a virtual sort of thing.
Sure.
And there will be a meeting, I'm sure, but I can't imagine it would go on in the regular way.
Well, we got to schedule up an event. You know, Kevin's talked about get you up here because it's been a while since you've been up here. I mean, we see Kevin about once every 2 years. He comes through and what the fuck do you want, you know, type thing. You know, he comes in, his shorts and sandals and you know and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we got to get you up here because we want to do. I want guys to get a chance to smoke the JT, which I'm
100%
right here, which is I know I said it tastes like shit earlier, and it does. I'll always tell you that, but in reality, it's an outstanding cigar. It's an outstanding cigar.
I don't know why everybody always says that. Every single person I give a JT to tells the sales rep, don't tell Jarrid this, but it's really, really good. Like, it's really, really good. I'm like, why can't I know nice things? I don't know what it is about my personality that, like, I don't get to know nice things.
They tell you it's shit as they're smoking it down to the nub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can you send me more of those? I want to mulch my lawn or something like that. And it's
I
like
need more of those shit cigars if you've got them. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. No, but we need to get that scheduled up once we can get back to, you know, a normal pace and everything like that. We need to have you guys up here, schedule up an event. I think it'd be a blast. Because it's been a long time since we've done a Kristoff event here at Tobacco Grove. So I think it'd be fun.
That would be fantastic.
I love it. And I think the JT event is really special because it's one of those opportunities where I knew exactly as much about blending tobacco as any of your consumers or you guys would know about blending tobacco. You know what I mean? It's, if you don't do it, you don't do it. You know, it's not one of those things where, you know, even if you don't drink, you know a little bit about beer, a little bit about wine, a little bit about whiskey. Cigars are one of those things that if you aren't in it on this manufacturing side or on the retail side, you don't know anything about it besides for what other people have told you. And there's not a ton of resources out there to learn about it. So that's why you lean on guys like Cole and Rick and everybody at the Tobacco Grove team to educate you about the product, because that's a credible source, right? But if you talk to your buddy who says, oh, I got these Cubans for $4 in Mexico, that's not a credible source. But that might be the only thing you know about, you know?
Right.
So it's really important to have, to get that information from a quality source, and being able it took me 2 years to put this project together because I didn't know anything about blending or sourcing or buying the right tobacco, or, you know, one of those things where it's like, you know, you try a tobacco that you really like, and then you're like, oh, I wish it was a little bit sweeter, so let's add this in. But to add something, you have to take something out. So then you miss something else that you liked. And so it's banging your head against the wall for a really long time. So it's a cool opportunity for the customers to, you know, bust my balls, obviously, about it and everything like that. Because the JT and the footband is in the Red Sox colors and everything. And so there is ball busting to be done there. But also, if you have questions about tobacco, I had to learn all this shit in a really immersive way in order to be able to put this project together. The other
interesting thing about the JT event is it's not something that we're doing everywhere all the time, because obviously there's only one Jarrid. Not only that, it's the retailer who does the event and hosts the event can then sell the cigars going forward.
Oh, then we need to do this. I've got the perfect date in mind too to do this. I think we do this 2021 Super Bowl Sunday when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing. Yeah. They're going to win it all because they just stole the crown jewel from America's team.
They're gonna beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, man. That's gonna be the dream matchup.
Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. But I have uncovered, like, since last year and stuff like that, I've uncovered the joy of watching a football game where you're not living and dying by the result.
Right.
Like, I feel like I haven't watched Wild Card Weekend in 10 years. And
we haven't either.
Neither have I.
Yeah, you haven't either. And I had to watch it this time. And then obviously the Patriots lost. And I was like, afterwards, I was like, this year probably, usually when the Patriots are making a run, it takes years off my life. I'm like, I just saved 5 years of my life by not having the Patriots in the championship, because
it's almost too stressful sometimes to watch these games. It's a stress. It just eats away at you. I'm the exact same way when I watch OSU play. Unless they're beating the pants off them like 42-0, it's a stressful game for me. My wife.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. What I have to go through.
It's a boring game. How can you even be enjoying this game? It's so boring. They're killing them. I'm like, no, this is the best game because now I can relax and actually.
I can enjoy the game.
Yeah.
I would like to go on the record as saying I'm in favor of doing the event when it's cold.
Yeah.
I refuse.
Just to remind Jarrid why he moved to Texas.
You know, honestly, in all seriousness, Jarrid.
Oh, man, he's fine. He's from the East Coast. You know, he's felt cold.
Some of the best events that we've ever done here have been in the cold months, like February, have been some of the best events we've ever done here. No joke. They've been phenomenal. And I think I want to do this soon because I really think that this JT cigar could potentially become one of the top sellers for Kristoff in our humidor. I really think it can.
Up there with Piston, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to do it. I want to do it too. I think you guys would be a great. And then I always relish in the opportunity to drain Jeff of his resources. I'll go to his house, drink his whiskey, eat his food,
you
whatever.
You don't even have to get a hotel. We'll just have you stay at Jeff's house. He doesn't know this.
Oh.
That's just.
He doesn't know this, but I'm going to do that, and I'm going to wash my hands 59 times, use up all his soap. I'm going to do everything I can to drain Jeff Hogan of his resources.
You got to bring like the Patriots
paper, package it, and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to carve my name in the bottom of stuff, and it's going to be good.
Be like at the hotel, he'll be putting the soap and the extra toilet paper and shampoo.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you get a bathrobe when you leave.
Oh, yeah.
You get a Jeff Hogan bathrobe.
Full service. With your initials on it. JT, just for you.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys, this has been fantastic. I can't thank Jarrid, Kevin. Thank you guys so much for being on with us. Our little show that probably, like you said, no one's going to watch. But you know what? We had a blast. We learned more. Hopefully, everybody that watched it will learn some stuff too. So thank you guys for being on.
Yeah, we appreciate seeing you guys. I hope you guys are safe and doing well.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, it's been a blast. So thanks again, guys. Stay healthy, and we'll talk soon. And seriously, we'll get that event on the books because I want to do it.
Absolutely. And in preparation for the event, go to Tobacco Grove and buy an assortment of Kristoff.
We've got
and see if maybe curbside will open May 4th or something like that. and you guys will have a chance to try some Kristoff before the event.
Absolutely. Thanks, brother. Talk to you guys soon. Stay healthy. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Later, guys.